target and financial assistance? I think itinanong. Kasi dati BARM siya, di ba? Pero hanggang ngayon nakatenga rin sa korte. It appears that there were two lawsuits that were filed urging that Sulu be restored to BARM. So I'm wondering.
Madam Chair, just for the record,
But nothing was submitted? Was
ma'am,
something
it's a
submitted?
one-page submission that shows
Can't seem to
the
find it, eh. Oo.
that shows the targets
ito,
and allocation for Sulu
Tama,
alone.
physical targets for Sulu alone. Okay.
Yes. So in effect, what we're trying to say, Madam Chair, is nothing will change because allocated naman ho yung pera.
So you say nothing changes for Sulu.
Kasi I believe ang worry ni Senator Tolentino, paano na ang Sulu? So
Correct.
we said, given that the whole money is given to BARM, meron naman disaggregated per province. So we will just carve out the Sulu so that we can allocate that for Sulu.
All right. The tenure also of Senator Tulfo, have you submitted it to Senator Tulfo so that he's aware? Yes? Binigay mo na to? Yung request for additional positions?
Yes, Madam, what we did was we went ahead, I volunteered to engage DBM. So we did engage DBM and then we sent a copy to the Senate as well of our request to DBM. We had numerous
Kasi kayo
meetings.
yata sa gobyerno, pinakamalaki ang
Hindi ho, contract of service.
contractual at JO.
Yes, ma'am.
So, kayo yung super endo violator.
Ma'am, so
Paano ba to? Ano ba sabi ng DBM? Can't we begin, assuming that we have a 3-year program, at least umpisahan naman natin marginally? I understand that meron na naidagdag, pero wala bang hirit pa? Baka pwedeng sumagot ang si Asik Pulido, Director Abad, and so on.
Yes, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, there's a continuing effort with DSWD in order to start the regularization, Madam Chair, of at least 4,000 to 5,000 po of the existing
Nakailan na ba?
contractual
May
positions.
45,000?
ma'am, 4 to 5.
4 to
4 to 5.
Na-excite naman ako sa
Hindi
45.
po, hindi po. Well, Madam Chair, so far, from the last 5 tranches po.
Nakailan
six-
na from last year?
1,000, Madam Chair.
Ay, hindi po.
Teka.
Madam Chair, bali 16,000 na po yung naging from contract of service employees na i-convert na po to contractual
Right,
position.
that doesn't seem to be clear. Can we get DBM to submit exactly the numbers? Kasi they don't tally with the numbers of DSWD. Hindi maliwanag sa
Madam,
DSWD.
what I'm stating is yung sa amin, during my time, 6,135.
Alin yung 16,000 na sinasabi ni Asik Pulido?
Yun po yung total, Madam Chair. That were
Mula,
from-
baka naman mula pa nung 19 kopong-kopo.
Madam Chair, bali yung
Yung
total.
mula nung last budget hearing lang. Mula nung,
That was correct.
nung last
The
year
Secretary
lang.
is correct, Madam Chair. That's about 6,000.
6,100.
135. 6,135. Madam Chair, for the record,
They have been converted from contractual or JO?
From COS, Madam Chair, to contractual positions. Contract of service, Madam Chair, to contractual positions.
JO to contractual.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
O so hindi pa rin permanent.
Not yet, Madam Chair. So we are,
Kailan magiging permanent to?
hopefully by this year, Madam Chair, we're looking at 4,000 to 5,000.
Yes.
We're coordinating with the DSWD through the Office of the Secretary.
Teka, this year doesn't have much left. You're talking about 2 months. Mahahabol mo yung 4,000 to 5,000 na yan? Na maging permanent?
Yes, Madam Chair. We're quite confident na kaya naman po habulin.
This year?
Best efforts. Yes, Madam Chair.
You have less than a quarter. Sure ka?
Best efforts po, Madam Chair. We're still waiting po for the final
Maraming
proposal.
testigo, maraming nakikinig. Magiging permanent yung 4,000 to 5,000 sa loob ng taon ng 2024. Maningil kayo.
Madam Chair, I'll contextualize it and DBM can answer back. Ma'am, lahat to sa 4-piece. Ito yung 4-piece na pinag-uusapan natin kasi 'di ba wala hong regular employees, walang contractual employees doon. So ngayon, lahat 'yon sa 4-piece.
Right.
Now, meron pa kaming further submission based on what Senator Tulfo was saying, yung mga other social workers in the entire department
right.
that are non-4-piece. We submitted to them a list of
Yes, understood. But it
Yeah.
doesn't matter as long as we're starting somewhere.
Yes.
Kasi wala na kayong ginawa kundi mag-violate ng endolo. Hindi naman pwede yun.
Madam Chair, kung yun ho ang report ng DBM, we'll be more than happy to,
Yes,
we'll be very
if you
happy.
could share with us the numbers as per your listing versus the SWD. Hindi masyadong maliwanag sa sinabmit ninyo, Secretary Rex. Kung pwede, numero lang. Ang haba ng pinadali. Parang essay writing contest.
Madam Chair, we'll submit now.
Numero lang po.
We'll submit now the new request namin sa DBM, a copy. We'll submit to you a
Yeah.
copy of it.
Yung maliwanag lang kasi nahirapan kami. Ang dami-dami nito. Okay, I think going further, yung issue ng vehicles, you sent us the list of the vehicles that you have, but clearly there's no indication of what type of vehicles they are and where they are assigned. So alam naman natin na kulang talaga. Ano bang paraan? So I think, Secretary, in addition to just giving me the list of vehicles, which is not very relevant, in fact, siguro, ang mabigay ninyo sana sa amin, are there any other safeguards that DSWD can undertake for your employees? At nakikita naman natin na nagtatakbuhan sila, naghahabol mula bangko, tapos may dadadalang cash, naka-backpack, sumasakay lang sa kung saan-saan mga taxi at saka nag-aangkas pa, kaya nakaka-nervyos. Yes, Secretary.
Madam Chair, as mentioned in the last hearing, we know na tight fiscal space so we can't keep on buying cars. At saka may driver yan, may MOE yan. We've already worked with Land Bank on farming out yung cashiering function to
Yes,
them.
but remember, that's always an issue kasi may awas yung payer.
Ma'am, meron naman kaming administrative costs where we can
Kaya
charge
nga,
that.
can't you source that from there?
We can, ma'am.
The
That-
other problem, of course, is that very often these marginal communities are found far, far away from any land bank.
No, ma'am, apparently, what Land Bank is doing with its partners like USSC
Yeah,
is they will
USSC.
now go to the payout center. So amin na lang yung validation and social intake, sila na yung kahero. I just went there
I
last
think
week.
you can also make arrangements with the local jeep and other, your
we
local
do.
taxi facility.
Madam, we do. They are allowed to rent naman vehicles
no, but they're
naman.
renting on a one-to-one basis. Sana medyo pangkalahatan para mas safe naman yung ating mga empleyado. Nakaka-nervous, ang daming dalang cash eh.
That's well noted, ma'am. We'll look into a
Yeah, so
contract.
in
with them.
addition sana, kahit may land bank, at least meron na kayong suki, kumbaga, na merong arrangements with these transport companies. Kawawa naman eh. Lahat kami kinakabahan sa mga
Madam Chair,
batang namimigay eh.
we wanted to do that, but again, DBM circular ba yun? I'll work with DBM kasi may DBM circular rin on long-term rental arrangements. They only allow us 15 days. Then after 15 days, we'll have to request for
I think-
authority from them again.
Yes, can't you, no. Yes, yes, sorry, another matter. Yes,
But naman ang nangyayari kasi we wanna engage
no,
in a
what I'm
long...
trying to say is that can't you have a contract with the transport supplier?
Madam, the DBM circular
Para
prevents
at least
us...
may kasiguraduhan.
Ma'am, ang problema ko in DBM circular prevents us from engaging long-term. Only 15 days, then we have to seek approval from DBM for a long-term contract, no? Long-term.
Yes, given that it's an internal arrangement, can't you have a word with Secretary Amina?
I will,
that
ma'am.
this is really-
I'll take notice
This
and
is
I'll work with
really
her.
becoming unnerving for millions and millions being carried on the backs of these poor JO some more.
Yes, ma'am.
JO na nakasakay pa ka sa kung saan, cash pa ang bit-bit, wala namang bantay, nakaka-nervyos eh.
Ma'am, we will do that.
Yes, so perhaps, yeah, you just gave me a list of vehicles, which is not helpful. Siguro you can tell me what you're doing also to make certain that the employees are safer, the JOs are online to becoming contractual and thereafter becoming permanent. Okay, yes, there was a question about Lawa and Binhi. I think you submitted, this was item number 7. Something to do with the immigration, di ba? Ay, irrigation, Diyos ko, hindi na immigration.
Madam Chair, it's simply putting direction to our Cash for Work program for our poor communities. Given na nandyan na talaga yan sa amin, yung parang disaster mitigation fund namin, prevention.
Is this derived from the QRF?
No, ma'am. It's a separate line item called DRPCC-CAM. So Disaster Resilience Program, Climate Change Adaptation and Mitigation. Nandun na ho yan talaga sa libro namin. It's a cash for work program na nilagyan lang ho namin ng direksyon rather than them doing other menial things.
Yeah, and you're doing it in tandem with NIA, I understand, not BSWM.
Ma'am, apparently it's with BSWM
There we go.
and NIA. Dalawa sila
Kaya nga
sabay.
nalilito ako kasi last time, ang sinabi ninyo, sa NIA, alam ko, papel ng BSWM yan eh.
May stand corrected, silang dalawa ang kausap po namin sabay.
Actually, magulo sila kasi yung NIA palipat-lipat rin, DA, ngayon back to OP na naman for the second time. So, magulo siya. Okay, that's fine. I think we're done with that and then we can go to the other questions. Yes, yes, I think you had some submissions on the SLP and these motor vehicles that are really not of interest. I think what's more of interest is to determine how to safeguard and secure all those bringing cash all over the place. Ano po ito? Yeah. I don't understand. Ano to? Yes. I think I had a question also about the creation of a disaster resilience department.
Ma'am, yun ho, you spoke about that in our last hearing. I was saying kasi ho, yung disaster arm ng DSWD, wala ho siyang bureau. Lahat sila contract of service. Kasi nga, the reason being, there was a drive then to create a disaster department at ililipat sila doon.
Correct.
Kaya puro contract of service rin yung buong department, cluster namin on disaster response. That was the
they're also
context.
contractual.
Contract of service, ma'am.
Sorry. So JO pending creation of new department.
Yes, ma'am. But our plead now with DBM is to baka habang inaantay yun, baka pwede kami humingi ng mga regular positions also kasi parang hindi pa ho namin makita yung disaster department.
Right. There are child nutrition advocates in the Senate, and I'd like to ask some additional questions. Do with a supplemental feeding program, providing hot meals 5 to 7 days a week for 120 days. What's the distinction between the 5 times and those 7 times? 5 to 7 ang sabi.
5 days in a week kasi facilities-based siya.
Sorry?
We only do feeding 5 days a week because facility-based yan sa loob ng daycare.
Kaya nagtataka ako kasi may banggit dito 5 to 7 days. Nasa submission ninyo, binabasa ko lang.
Ma'am, just for the record, it's 5 days.
Yeah, let's consider it a mistake.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ang nabigay sa akin 5 to 7.
5 days, ma'am.
Okay. The submitted report makes no mention on the final result of the feeding. What's the effect of the program? Height, weight, nutrition status? Is it successful? Ang hirap-hirap ng supplemental feeding, having been a governor for a long time, it doesn't work a great deal of the time. After 120 days, underweight pa rin
Nag-slip
yung bata.
Madam,
So, may resulta ba kayo nito? Kasi ang alam ko, hindi talaga nag-work. Ako, hirap na hirap ako kasi nag-feeding rin ako sa Nutriban. Hindi talaga nagsasucceed ka agad. 120 days may not be sufficient.
Madam, you're correct. It's not sufficient. That's why we've been asking to move it in 180, di ba?
120 na kayo ngayon. Hindi, ang problema kasi, wala kayong results-based management.
Ma'am,
Anong resulta? Di nagpakain tayo.
Madam, the
nangyari.
LGUs are the ones submitting in the information system yung wasted and severely wasted status ng mga bata. Kasi we don't have boots on the ground. So,
Pero considering na kayo ang may hawak ng budget na yon, kayo pa rin ang may pananagutan niya.
yeah. Ma'am, whenever it's consolidated, the results will show that there's improvement in wasting. From severely wasted and wasted,
Yes,
nababawasan
but
ho
we
yun.
need to know more precisely so that we target it properly. Siyempre, yung severely wasted, iba yung sitwasyon sa mildly malnourished. So we have to, I think, we have to target more carefully. Kasi yung severely wasted, ibang story talaga yon, hindi sasapat yung 120
Yeah.
days.
Madam Chair, in the feeding,
Ang
it's
problema niyan, sinasantabi ninyo at saka sinasabi nyo LGU na ang sasagot. Hindi pwedeng LGU ang sasagot kasi yung pera nasa inyo eh.
Ma'am, okay, Madam Chair, the feeding has multiple modalities. One of the main modalities, we download the funds to the LGU for them to procure from local co-ops kasi hindi namin kaya mag-regional procurement all the time dahil wastage, spoilage. So also in effect, they're the ones keeping tab of the children's weight status, and they input it in the feeding information system.
Pero can't we require, bago kayo can't it be required, bago kayo mag-release ng pera ulit, sa LGU, dapat may closure report sila kung ano nangyari sa bata.
Chair, there is a post-feeding assessment that they submit to us.
But we have no results.
Madam
in
Chair-
the report you provided, walang naibigay.
Ito yung hiningi, no?
Did it work? Didn't it work? Were
Madam
we
Chair,
successful?
yes.
Were we palpak?
Madam Chair, what we can do is furnish the committee a copy of the results. Basically, what we look for are anthropometric measurements. Yung head circumference niya,
Yes, understood.
height,
Kaya
weight, BMI.
Pero wala siyang before and after. Kailangan maliwanag yung before and after eh. At
Ma'am-
saka dapat siguro, iba-ibang klase, yung severely wasted nga, kesa sa mas mild or just occurred during the bagyo.
Madam Chair, there is a baseline data that is
Yun na nga,
collected.
but
And
I
then an
haven't
end-line
seen
data.
anything.
Madam Chair, what we will do is we'll submit to you.
All you're providing us is what was released.
Madam Chair will submit to the committee the results of the feeding program in the past 3 years.
Because given the state of malnutrition in the country, it's not working, is what I'm saying. I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying that we need to get our act together between DSWD, DOH, and DepEd. Our nutrition programs are simply not working.
Madam Chair, as we speak, there's a NEDA commission group with those three
Ayun na nga.
three departments that you mentioned to synchronize it. We've given recommendations, for instance, sa amin 120 days, pero sa DepEd 180 days. The unit
Tsaka
cost,
DepEd, it's too late. Matanda na sila, 7
Yes.
years old na. Yung 1,000-day period is lost.
yes, Madam Chair,
And then with DOH naman, puro micro-supplements na nag-e-expire, puro vitaminang ine-expire.
Madam Chair, yes.
Ayaw nila magbigay ng pagkain, hindi ko maintindihan.
Madam Chair, we can submit to you the nutrition continuity plan that we plotted. In that nutrition continuity plan, it will show our action and interventions in the first 1,000 days to include the new first 1,000-day grant ng 4Ps, and then the facility-based intervention, 3 to 5 in the daycare centers, and then DepEd's feeding program.
Yes,
We
I
can
think
submit
I
to
need
you.
a more results-based report.
We will,
because,
Madam Chair.
Clearly, malnutrition's not moving. If anything, it's been exacerbated.
We will, Madam. We'll submit to you, Madam Chair, the post-feeding reports that we have for the prior 3 years.
I'm confused also by the DSWD budget efficiency with regard to purchasing rice from NFA. Kasi you buy at cost, have to resort to higher rates such as 45 pesos per kilo. And dealing with alternative suppliers upon NFA's waiver. May
Madam Chair,
ganun eh.
that's for the disaster.
Yes, correct. So you end up buying at 45. Paano ba ang sistema dyan?
Madam Chair, in the QRF, whenever we need to buy rice for our calamity boxes,
Yes,
we will have to buy it from NFA because of a standing executive order.
right.
So now, recently, pag wala, then we resort to regular procurement.
So that becomes 45 pesos
Ma'am,
upwards.
nag-iiba-iba eh. Depende,
Iba-iba.
depende sa bantay presyo grid na binibigay kinukuha namin from the Department of Agriculture.
Na kailanman hindi nasusunod.
Ma'am, but we make sure that we buy only within the bandwidth given by the bantay presyo of
So
the
what is
Department
the
of
present
Agriculture.
bandwidth, just as a matter of curiosity?
Ma'am, 45 pesos to
Yeah, alam
55
ko,
pesos.
hanggang 55
Yes,
na
ma'am.
kayo? Okay.
That's within the bantay presyo that they update every day in their webpage.
Yes, so NFA sells aging stock at 25 per kilo.
Unfortunately, ma'am, we don't get
Parang
29.
hindi nangyayari yun.
Ma'am, hindi kami nakakakuha. Recently, they've been issuing waiver of no availability.
Yeah.
Ngayon lang, last
Sa
week.
amin din.
Pero last week, nakakuha kami for NCR, source from Region 2. So we're not going to buy commercially, we're going to get from NFA. Pero hindi sa 29 pesos, 38 pesos, ma'am, based on the new
Kaya nga hindi ko
contract.
naintindihan kasi ang nakalista sa NFA, 25 pesos. Tapos with 29 pesos, may 29, may 25 sila na sinasabi pag aging stock more than 3 months. Tapos may 29 pesos na sinasabi na binebenta daw sa inyo.
Madam Chair, we'll submit to
Sa
the
DA
committee.
Kadiwa. Pero yung report ninyo, naiba naman.
We'll submit to the committee, ma'am, our memorandum of agreement with NFA that states our buying price. It's at
Right.
38 pesos.
So at NFA now, you're actually, the real is at 38 pesos.
38 pesos, ma'am.
So kayo na yan. Is that aging stock or
No,
fresh?
ma'am, that's fresh. That's fresh.
Aging stock, any idea magkano?
Ma'am, we don't buy aging stock
Ang
because...
daming reklamo dyan eh.
Yes, ma'am. And remember, ma'am, ikakamada ulit namin siya sa box as stockpile. So kung walang calamity, lalong tatagal sa amin, baka the quality of rice might not be usable na pag calamity. So we don't buy aging stock, ma'am.
So no more aging stock. And so you have fresh stock and the going rate, more or less,
38
national
pesos.
average is at 38 pesos, not the 25 that NFA
None, ma'am.
keeps saying.
38 pesos. We have a memorandum of agreement that we'll submit right now.
But in fact, during disasters, napipilitan kayo bumili at 55 pesos.
45 to 55.
Oo. Eh, mura na ngayon kasi 60 plus kapag meron. Di ba? Okay. So, if I could just have that cleared up because iba naman yung sinasabi
Madam Chair, we'll
ng
submit our
NFA.
memorandum of agreement with them.
Yeah, no, well, more importantly, your buying price in the last couple
We
of
will,
months.
Madam Chair. What we'll do is we'll summarize what we've bought
Yeah.
and then submit to the committee accordingly.
Kailan sila last nag-issue ng no availability?
Last week, ma'am, dalawa ko kasi. We have a packing center in Visayas. Sabi nila doon walang stock. But the one in Metro Manila, they said they have a stock. So last week, we got two types of waivers from them. One is certification na merong stock in Luzon and
Right.
then non-availability in Visayas.
Okay. Isabela, may stock talaga.
Yes, ma'am. That's where we're
Marami.
getting now for our NCR operations.
Okay, fine. I just wanted to clear up, there were some questions about the four-piece program. Your submissions have some discrepancies. The data you provided for 2024, I think the USEC in charge of the four-piece, you're currently at 4.277 million households. From the start of the program, you indicated that you had 1.451 million households had exited. Yung 1.451, sabi nyo exited na yon, ano? So total of 5.728 households. In the same data, sinabi nyo na 6.472 have been served. So may discrepancy tayo. It's just arithmetic.
Madam Chair,
Bakit
I'll
may
go through
discrepancy
it.
ng 743,000?
Madam Chair, if I may, and the
Yeah.
USEC can collaborate. Madam Chair, the target is always 4.4 million. But within months, merong nag-graduate, merong umaalis, may pinapasok ulit. So the current number of beneficiaries, tama ho kayo, is at 4.2.
Yeah,
That's the
what you
current-
submitted eh.
That's the current in our database.
Oh.
Now, yung sinasabi ho nyo nag-exit, sila yung nag-exit from inception of the program till current.
Are you
Till now.
saying from 2007 yan? Ang nipis naman yan.
Ma'am, 2007.
Kaya nga, ang nipis nga. Ang konti naman.
Ma'am, kasi di ba kailangan matapos yung mga anak nila from school and then they have a 7-year gestation period also. So, yeah. So, ang exit natin,
Ang exit depende sa kung graduation.
But that's 17 years. Siguro naman, under 18 years old lang ang covered.
Madam
dyan.
Chair, it's only been recent na nag-exit ang DSWD from the program. I'm sure you well know na noon there was a
No,
COA.
may exit din. May exit
Pero konti
din.
ho, that's why COA even cited, before I came in, there was a COA cited finding that said nga na hindi kami nag-exit ng
Hindi
enough.
nga.
So that's
Hindi na
why,
nag-e-exit.
yan
Imagine
numero na yan,
17 years.
yan
Eh,
numero na yan is small kasi hindi ho talaga nag-exit noon. But right now, we are more aggressive in it using the SWIDI. And in 2023, for instance, Madam Chair,
In any
alone,
case, what's the reason for the discrepancy of 743,000?
ano ang 743?
There's a discrepancy eh. Kasi you said that 6,472 have been served. So, bitin yun. Kasi may 5.728. There, it's not tallying. Unless they become eligible again. I'm just assuming that after COVID, they went right back to being eligible. Is that possible? Di ba tumanda na yung mga anak, hindi na pwede yun?
Madam Chair, let me explain in a less complicated manner. Medyo mahirap sabayan pero please bear with me. Madam Chair, noong 2019, nagkaroon tayo ng listahanan. Inabutan ho siya ng COVID. So nung pumasok ho si Sec Tulfo and ako, meron ho mga portion na ini-exit massively. Almost 1.4 million yung in-exit. Na pagtingin namin, mahirap pa rin.
I understand. I was there. I was
So
already the
binalik
chair
natin
for that.
sila. We did return people who were inadvertently exited from the program. That's around 700,000.
Yeah.
Roughly, ma'am, 700,000 yung binalik natin.
So are you saying that the discrepancy for the 743,000 is because they were restored, they were requalified?
Yes, ma'am. We revisited them using the case management tool to determine kung mahirap pa talaga sila or hindi. Then binalik namin yung mga karapat
Talagang
dapat na
mahirap
ibalik.
pa naman kahit in-exit ninyo eh.
Madam Chair, pero ito kasi dapat they should not have been
Kasi
exited.
di ba wala naman long-term effect siya sa employment at saka income of household.
Actually, ma'am,
Ang epekto lang niya sa vaccination at saka sa edukasyon.
Ma'am, dun sa case management tool that we use, di ba they graduate out also when we see that there's some type of economic sustainability of sorts. Pero ma'am, yes, we did return them back to answer the...
discrepancy, can you just give me a coherent explanation? Because it's not tallying, it's just arithmetic. Bakit ganun? Isa pa, why does the program count college graduation as your achievement? Hindi
Madam-
naman kayo nagbibigay ng tulong sa kolehiyo.
Madam Chair, pero di ba kasi education, keeping
Pero
kids in
hanggang high
school...
Tapos ang
Yes, ma'am.
baba pa ng score ng high school natin.
Keeping them in school, so we'd like to think na nakaabot sila ng kolehiyo because nag-primary and secondary education
Di
sila.
ba dapat CHED yun? Wag na ninyo i-claim yun. Di naman kayo tumutulong dun eh.
18. Ma'am,
Delete
hanggang
na lang
senior
yan kasi
high.
hindi naman totoo eh.
Yeah. Yes, Madam Chair. But kasi we were trying to show breaking of the intergenerational poverty as a means of success ng program.
I think that should be noted as a mere observation and not claimed as an accomplishment of the program. Hindi naman totoo. Also, out of 1.451 that exited, only a total of 567,000 or 39% exited due to better living conditions, meaning they graduated or voluntarily waived. So are we satisfied that the flagship anti-poverty program has a mere 39.1 success rate? Kasi effectively, that is the success rate that you're claiming. So you're actually saying 61% palpak, 39% okay.
Madam Chair, of the ones that graduated, are you saying that?
Oo, kasi di ba, there's an admission in your presentation that out of the ones who exited, only 567,000 are actually out of poverty. So the rest are not. So ibig sabihin, 39.1% lang ang okay na, nakaahon na. Yung iba, nakalugmok pa rin sa kahirapan.
Madam Chair, sadly because the law has certain things, diba? Pag wala ka ng eligible children, kahit na mahirap ka pa, aalisin
Oo,
ka.
understood.
So sadly, these are provisions of the law that we want to look into
No,
again.
that's precisely why you're here, because we are the legislature and we can fix the law.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Kasi palpak to.
Madam
Kung
Chair.
magre-report ako na isang programa na 17 taon na sinusugod, abay, napakababa naman ito, 39.1%. Di ba dapat tigilan na yan?
Madam Chair,
Or
two things.
baguhin
Two
or
things, Madam
something.
Chair. One, you're correct that there are limitations to the law. In fact, we are pushing for amendments to include looking at that.
I've never seen any
Ma'am, we're
amendments
about to
from
submit
you.
now.
Oo.
Two, Madam Chair, if you can recall, we mentioned about commissioning a study on the 4Ps and all the anti-poverty
But
programs.
I think we don't need the study. These numbers are glaring us in the face.
Yes, Madam Chair, the 883 na umalis na may not have better life, ano sila, wala nang anak ho na nag-childhood
Understood.
age.
They're no longer qualified.
Yeah, so those are
Wala
the
ng minor kids.
those are the limitations that we want to look into. Baka maamendahan ho yung
So
batas.
the other thing is, we've talked about exit programs. Of those who exited, eto nga kasi hindi nga nagtatali, how many became recipients of SLP and were forwarded or endorsed to DepEd for alternative learning?
Madam Chair,
or to
yeah.
DOLE for some kind
Madam
of
Chair,
TESDA training?
will
Wala bang follow-up to?
Ma'am, meron. We will submit to...
Kasi, ang problema, kung 39.1%, kung kumpanya, kayo negosyante, di ba? Kapag kumpanya 39% after 17 years, di ba pinapatay na yung programang yun? Obvious ba na hindi pwede yun? So, are there other metrics that can show some level of success? Because right now, I'm not deriving any.
Madam Chair, for instance, in the... Ma'am, the impact, there's only one impact assessment that we use, the one that PEDS normally gives us. In the last impact assessment, they were looking at two variables. Education, which they said nga, there's still a lot to be desired kasi yung mga bata pinagtatrabaho pagdating sa senior high school pa rin kesa staying in senior high school. Pero in the health side of it, they were saying that, like you said, there's so much improvement already in terms of the health side ng mga poor families ho natin. Not perfect, but they said that there are signs that they're already developing the health-seeking behaviors that we want. But kulang pa, that's what they said in the last PEDS assessment in 2019.
Aware of that, but can you provide some other measure of success for the 4-piece program? Kasi sa ngayon wala eh. Palpak
Madam Chair,
eh.
that's why we
In the
commissioned...
absolute measure of providing a new pathway out of poverty through 4Ps.
Madam Chair, that's why
there
we commissioned...
simply isn't any success
Madam-
to claim.
Madam Chair, as mentioned in the past two meeting, that's why we commissioned those two studies. Kasi nobody has ever
No,
looked
but in
at...
the meantime, even without the studies, ilan dito na nag-exit ang nag-avail ng iba pang
Yes,
programa
ma'am,
katulad
we
ng
have that.
SLP, Kalahi Sheets, kung ano man.
Madam Chair, we will send you the committee a submission yung mga na-endorse at
Baka
nag-aral
na-endorse naman
sa
yun
kolehiyo.
Sa ALS, sa
Yes.
DepEd, sa SUC, kung saan
We have that,
TESDA.
Madam Chair.
Anyway, kasi wala akong mahanap na success measure dito eh. The other thing is that you are claiming the social welfare and development indicator as the tool used for the graduation process from the 4Ps. Do you assess all the 4.4 target
Yes, Madam
households?
Chair. The links natin...
Where did you derive the number 4.4?
Madam, that's the database, but that's the universal that we should keep, 4.4.
I don't understand. What do you mean it's the universal?
In the,
There's certainly more poor people than those.
Definitely, Madam Chair,
And
there's
the
more.
number of the poor who, in fact, have children under the age of majority will certainly be more as the years pass. How come we are stuck to 4.4
Madam Chair,
forever?
because one, nandun yun sa Philippine Development Plan na
Pero
target.
I understand.
And
but,
two,
pero
nasa GAA.
But it's how can you say 4.4 forever when in fact the population is growing?
Madam Chair, we really want more.
No,
but
I
even
understand,
in the
but I'm
GAA,
just saying,
it's...
you have to agree with me that pegging it to an absolute number forever is absurd.
Definitely, Madam Chair.
There we go. So,
Ma'am,
what
in-
would the real number be?
6 yan, diba? 6 million. 6 million.
No, the ones who are really qualified. I don't think it's 6 million. You're all guessing. I don't believe so.
Madam Chair,
Dami-daming bata sa Pilipinas.
Madam Chair, kasi that's the sad part. Our listahanan only is 2019. It's an
Understood,
old
and you won't have
listahanan.
any more. But
That-
isn't PSA gonna?
Yes, Madam Chair. So we're looking forward to getting the CBMS kasi doon namin kukunin yung data.
Yeah, no, because, okay, 4.4 is what's stated, but you all know it's absurd. Why don't we question this?
Madam Chair, we will and we have.
And where will we get the data? What is the real number of qualified households? Alam naman natin, di totoo eh.
Madam Chair, that's why we're
Alam mo naman, 17 years, hindi lumaki yung populasyon.
Madam-
Labis-labis ang linaki, tapos ito pa rin.
Madam Chair, that's why we're waiting for the new CBMS to come in kasi lumang-luma na ho yung listahanan natin. It is a 30% inclusion-exclusion error.
So you have an assessment process, you have an inkling of how many households are due to exit
Madam-
this year?
Exit, ma'am, Madam
Yeah,
Chair.
due to natural attrition?
500,000. 400,000, di ba? Anong exit mo this year?
Ito yung sa L3, sa ano, sa
Exit. May projection ka ng exit, di ba? Akin na. Ito. 80,000, no?
Sa next year, sir, 88,000, sir.
Sa this year,
Sa this year ay,
80,000.
no, hindi pa po yun tapos. ang ating target ngayon is, Chena,
300,000 yan, di ba?
less
Ito
than
yung-
400,000, sir.
Ito yung ano mo, level 3.
327. Titigil ka na. Mali na naman yun sa'yo. Madam Chair, for this year, the targeted exit is 327,912.
Yes, how did you assess that?
Madam Chair, these are families who have achieved self-sufficiency based on the SWIDI, yung Social Welfare Indicator, when they were assessed by the case managers on the ground.
Okay, in addition, in your submitted documents, you mentioned that the first 1,000 days for the health of the 0 to 2 from the poorest families, I take it to mean they belong to the 4.4 of the 4Ps? Or
Yes,
don't
Madam
they?
Chair.
We're already giving 750 pesos a month per household, requiring 38.8 billion, targeting 0 to 5-year-old children, and ensuring pre- and postnatal health checkups for pregnant women. Aren't we duplicating this? Doble-doble na to.
Madam Chair, kasi yung
Kasi
health...
sabi mo, meron na tayong health and nutrition for the first 1,000 days. Pagkatapos meron pang 750. Hindi ba patong-patong na yan?
Madam
Bakit
Chair,
nagdodoble? Samantalang yung iba kapos talaga.
Madam Chair, in the studies of PEDS itself and in our own assessment, the health-seeking behavior stops for pregnant and lactating women pag nakatatlong anak na sila. Pag lumagpas na pang-apat, pang-lima, they don't even register anymore their pregnancy. They don't go to the health centers kasi there's simply no way to defray the cost of them doing the health-seeking behavior. So yung pera na binibigay kasi natin is household, so they share it, compared to our proposal na it's per pregnancy.
But you're telling me you're giving 2 lots. Isn't there a more coherent way to address this? Meron kang health grant, tapos may health and nutrition grant. Di ba dapat ipagkaisa na lamang yan?
Madam,
Kasi-
actually, we want to make sure na this one is targeted to the pregnant and lactating women only. Hindi siya for everybody. It's a subset of the entire 4.4.
It's a subset of the 4.4.
It's a subset.
But the 4.4 is already receiving 750. Ba't
Yes,
mo
ma'am. So-
dinodoble-doble?
Ma'am, this is a special targeted intervention for pregnant and lactating women, 0 to 2, the one we keep on mentioning a while ago, para masigurado lang that they do develop that health-seeking behavior. In other countries na may conditional cash transfers, they actually have this, like in India and in Bangladesh. Kasi na-realize nila na kahit may
No,
supplies,
understood that it is a necessary thing to do. It's an important thing to do, but I don't understand why you have to do it twice.
Madam Chair, this one is on a per pregnancy. Yung unang grant natin is para sa kanilang lahat. Ito pang 0 to 2 lang siya. Hindi na ho kasama kung
Can't
may
they be
3 to 5.
integrated so it's more logical?
Madam Chair, kasi in the computation of the 750,000 pesos, pati yung pag-attend nila ng family development session, credited na kaagad yon. While this one is targeted for the pregnant and lactating women to go to their health centers, doon sa 750 kasi kasama doon yung pag-attend ng family development session, yung other mechanisms that's beyond the 0 to 2.
Yes, okay. I'd like to understand why hiwalay pa yan. Kasi parang, I mean, it's clearly a duplication as far as I'm concerned because they're already getting something. So if you want to add, you can just top up to the 750. But it seems illogical.
Madam Chair, we can. Basta we'll target it for pregnant lactating women. We don't mind.
Dagdagan na lang.
Yes, ma'am. We don't mind.
Pero hindi naman pwedeng hiwalay na naman.
Ma'am, it's just a matter of how we craft the amendment to the law.
And
We
how
can
much it
incorporate
will
it. It's 350 per pregnancy or 0 to 1 na bata. 0 to 2.
Yes, it's curious because you give 750 for 3 kids, 350 for 1 who hasn't been born.
Ma'am, 0 to 2 kasama na yung pag napanganak siya.
Ayun na nga.
Kasi what we want is for that pregnant
Kung ako
woman,
yung nanay, magre-reklamo ako nito.
Madam, importante kasi for that pregnant woman to go get that health-seeking behavior. We know that even hindi pa siya pinapanganak, doon sa sinapupunan, napaka-importante na natatanggap niya yung necessary interventions. From the counseling to what to do early on your pregnancy.
And so you're not going to impose any limits on the number of pregnancies, considering that many have objected to this, saying that you are in fact exacerbating the problem of teenage pregnancy and solo parents.
Madam Chair, if you
Are
do...
you encouraging
No, we're...
teenage pregnancy?
No, we
It's
are not.
already been cited by the World Bank as not only a social problem, but a widespread economic development
Madam Chair, in the same study for World Bank and ADB, they keep on repeating that there's no direct correlation between grants and having more children. Even PEDS is saying that. But in this case, kasi, if you do the math, 350 divided by how many days, that's only 30 pesos a day. So that's not a lot of incentive, but more of defraying the cost of going to the health center, commuting to get there, during your pregnancy. It's trying to develop the demand side of it.
So the intent is to give 350 on top of the 750 per month?
Only for pregnant and lactating women,
Understood,
0 to
yeah,
2.
but, okay. So they'll get a total of how much?
Ma'am, depende kung ilan yung
So
0
yung
to 2 mo.
350, presumably for 9 months lang, or whatever.
Yes, correct, ma'am.
But if, when
0
they
to 2. You exit when your child, you don't get that grant anymore when you don't have a child na 2-year-old. Kasi first 1,000 days, ma'am eh. Madam Chair.
So for the period of 0 to 2, you're getting double. You get the 350 plus 750. From the period of 2 to 5, you're only getting the 750.
Correct,
Is that
Madam
correct?
Chair.
So, dapat laging buntis. Ganun ba yun?
Madam Chair, again, one would think that, pero I don't think the 350 is enough to get pregnant kasi pag dinivide niyo yun, parang 30 pesos a day lang siya halos. Sorry, 13 pesos a day lang siya if you divide it. So parang...
If you divide it, but you don't go for a prenatal checkup every day naman eh.
Ma'am, one would say that 13 pesos is just really enough to defray the cost of doing the health-seeking behaviors. Other countries do it and they've seen success in it na kahit na maayos yung supply side,
No,
if
I'm
the
not
demand side
against
is
it.
there.
I mean, the question is to do it in a way that would actually encourage healthy pregnancies. This seems a little haphazard and unthought out. So I'm a little bit concerned na you won't get the results you want eh. Kasi parang dinagdagan mo ng abala ka ni dyan. Parang hindi maliwanag.
Madam Chair,
Mas maigi pa, bigyan mo na yung pera sa RHU at sa BHW, kalampagin nila lahat ng buntis.
Madam, yan ang problema ho. Even in other
Kasi kahit
countries.
ibigay ninyo yan, parang hindi pa rin mangyari.
Madam Chair, we'll
yan eh.
submit the study ng World Bank.
Okay.
A
I'm
comparative
familiar
study.
with it actually.
Madam, in those countries,
Nakakatawa yung study na yon. Ang dami niyang sinasabi tungkol sa 4Ps. Tapos sa bandang huli sabi, ang ending, ang punchline, matapos sabihin na it doesn't work, ang ending na punchline, kaya pauutangin pa rin
Madam
namin
Chair, in that
kayo.
case, what we'll submit to
Nalito
you
ako doon.
is
Pero hindi
a-
ako sa ending ng bangko. Talagang bangko eh. Gusto
Madam Chair,
magpautang kahit mali-mali na.
para fair na lang, Madam Chair, para hindi yun yung study na ibibigay namin sa inyo.
Hindi yun ang binigay eh.
Hindi, we will give
Nakakatawa.
you...
ADB at saka World Bank. Bigay ng ng study, nakapos ang 4Ps, sapat lamang for temporary poverty, short-term poverty, no changes in the family situation or intergenerational, multidimensional poverty. Ang daming sinabi. Tapos ang punchline sa huli, kaya magpapautang din kami sa inyo.
Madam Chair,
lubog na tayo sa utang. Alam naman pala nila na walang katagumpay eh.
Madam Chair, para na lang hindi yun yung study, we'll give you a comparative that we've done of countries with similar grants.
Yeah,
Basically,
I'm
what the study will say
familiar.
is, even if the supply side is ample, halimbawa, binigay natin sa RHU, barangay health workers, in those countries, nung wala yung grant na yun, the pregnant and lactating women were not seeking the health services that they need. Simply because...
No, I suppose what I'm trying to say is that there should be some type of reward to make it clear that this is being given upon compliance.
Yes, Madam Chair. It
Not
will...
just outright.
Yes, Madam Chair. Forgive us for not...
Pareho ng 4Ps, kapag hindi ka nagpabakuna, hindi talagang
Madam Chair,
hindi tuloy-tuloy ang bigay.
it's in the conditions that we impose.
Okay.
Na it's all conditional. It's not given to you just outright. You must do necessary steps. For instance, register the pregnancy. Tapos 2, do the prenatal consultation. 3,
Yes,
do the
but
postnatal
since this is a new program, maybe that's what you should have done, provided us with the guidelines. In any case, yeah. So you give us na lang kung paano yan.
We will, Madam Chair.
Kasi wala yun, ang sinabi lang, mamimigay lang, parang ang labo naman nun. We have a projected cash grant deficit of 1.9 billion for 2023. Once again, it's not included in your 2025 computation of the 4-piece budget. At sa bandang huli nito, sasabihin ninyo na ako nagtanggal sa budget ninyo, madyadyaryo na naman ako sa kongreso nito. So,
Madam
my
Chair-
question is, why did you include the same in the 2025 special provision? Are you saying that you expect savings in your 2025 cash grants? Or ako na naman ang sasagot kung bakit ko tinanggal samantalang hindi naman ninyo hiningi?
Madam Chair, yung 2024 yan, di ba? The 2024
No,
project...
this is actually 2023 kung saan ninyo ako sinisi ng bonggang-bongga.
2023. Ito yun, di ba?
Pero ito, sir.
You have a deficit of 1.956
Madam Chair.
billion for fiscal year 2023.
Madam Chair, if you can recall, we had to do the reassessment of the different batches of families who were being removed.
Yes, I do recall.
So,
I do recall very clearly. And since you were unable to provide the information, you were not able to request the same. Kasi wala pa yung listahan ninyo.
So right now, Madam
So
Chair,
ngayon,
may
may
com-
shortage.
may compliance na sila.
Na hindi ko kasalanan, hindi ninyo alam kung ilan talaga.
Ngayon, Madam Chair, we have the figures already to substantiate kung ilan yung
Okay,
nag-comply.
so we're agreed that there's a shortage. Ang problema, bakit nasa 2025 special provision?
Yeah, alam ko.
Sigurado ba kayo may savings yung 2025?
Madam, may tier-
May savings ba pag taon ng halalan?
Madam, hindi ho siya savings,
Para hindi
kundi
ako maniwala.
there was a tier 2 that was granted to us by DBM at around 7 billion pesos. Ma'am, may tier 2. Oo nga. Madam Chair, there is a tier 2 7 billion na additional budget na binigay for 4Ps, and we're very thankful for that. That should be enough to cover for the compliance na, kasi compliance-based ho tayo eh. So now we've already projected that after the reassessment, we will need 1.9 billion to pay off the deficit. And then, portions of that 7 billion will use to finance the first
come
1,000 day
come
grant.
again. Why is it in the special provision for 2025? How sure are you na may savings kayo?
Madam Chair, it's not savings, it's the actual additional tier 2 that we requested. We requested
And how
additional.
sure are you that you're going to get this additional?
Madam Chair, it minus the wisdom of,
So you're saying not savings,
Not
from
savings.
savings,
Not, ma'am.
but from,
additional tier 2 budget that was given to us by DBM.
they've already given it.
It's
to
already in the NEP, Madam Chair.
additional tier 2 of
7 billion pesos.
I don't have it in the breakdown
Madam
of
Chair, you will-
2025. Can you please tell me?
Nakabuilt in
Maybe
na siya eh.
DBM can help us. Wala po sa NEP. Sorry, Secretary, wala po sa NEP. Maybe ASEC Pulido, alam niyo kung saan yung 7B na yan, di ko makita. Ang nakikita ko lamang is special
Akin yung
provision.
confirmation letter.
Director Abad, kabisado po ninyo itong 7 billion. Wala sa akin eh.
Their proposal actually, Madam Chair, includes the 7 billion to cover the supposed arrears. But when we release the computation for the NEP recommended level, the amount that was included there is does not include the amount for the computed subsidies in arrears because we have already provided this year the requirement to cover the grants in arrears for beneficiaries which were who were enrolled in the program.
Okay,
However,
so Secretary, I
Ma-
think DBM and I
Madam
have
Chair.
the same numbers because the 7 billion doesn't occur.
It's there.
And
but
it shouldn't
upon
be a special
our
provision. It should
but-
be grants in arrears, exactly
Madam
as
Chair.
you say. Yes, let's allow Director Abad to finish what you were saying. I'm sorry, we're all so rude and excitable.
we understand din po that there was this proposal to include in the special provision a colatilia allowing for the payment of the arrears, subsidies in arrears, because we recognize that It could be that based on the delisting process from the listahanan, there might be some more beneficiaries who would be claiming for arrears in 2025. Hence, we provided a leeway for them to include the same in their special provision. But our computation does not include that one because our basis was the targeted beneficiary and the compliance rate from the previous year, adding also a provision for the administrative costs. And
Do you
some
have
sorts.
even a guesstimate for the grants in arrears anticipated?
As of now, Madam Chair, we do not have,
Yeah,
but
because
we are.
necessarily you're awaiting
but-
their submission.
Yes, Madam Chair, but we're looking at the possible difference between the targeted beneficiary, which is 4.4 million, versus the actual implementation, where the numbers would
That's right.
change, and which could effectively cover the arrears if ever there is, because we understand that the substantial portion has already been covered by the releases
That's correct.
this year.
That's why I am thinking that DSWD in any case has an unobligated four-piece allotment remaining. There's an outstanding balance because of the shortfall nga in the 4.4 target versus the 4.1 million actual. And there's an 801.4 million. Is this taken into account in your deficit computation?
I'll contextualize further kasi we met with the Director Abad about this.
Because clearly you haven't requested from the DBM. Your tier 2 was turned down. The 7 billion is not located in any part of the NEP.
Madam Chair,
So,
we're looking for the confirmation letter. Madam Chair, just to briefly go through it again. The initial tier 1 was 98 billion. 98,723,788. Then when the tier 2 came back, because we requested additional nga in anticipation to projected shortfall, we were granted an additional 7 billion. Kaya yung total grants natin is 105,732,782. Madam Chair, it's already incorporated with what's in the NEP right now. Ito ho yung breakdown namin. We can gladly submit it. We're just looking for the confirmation letter on the approval of the tier 2. Madam Chair, so tier
I'm sorry,
1,
because you have a cash grant deficit already stated at 1.956 billion, about which the DBM is apparently not aware.
Madam Chair, we met.
Eh mamaya
Okay.
kukulangin na naman yan, tayo na naman ang sisisiyan. Yan ang ngayon
Madam
ko
Chair,
eh.
let me explain again. The original amount in tier 1 for grants was only 98 billion. 98,723,788. But because we were anticipating the compliance
yun nga ang
days,
kinagagalit ko. Kasi meron tayong listahan ng 4-piece, tapos hindi ibibigay sa 4-piece kung saan-saan akap ilalagpak. Eh, hindi naman yata tama
Madam Chair,
yun.
in this
Kayo kaya
case-
mag-usap.
nag-usap ho kami, kaya nga masaya na kami doon sa binigay ho nila. In short, we're
Hindi nga
contented
daw
and
nila binigay yung 7 billion
Madam
eh.
Chair, we'll submit to you the DBM tier 2.
The level po that we gave to you is based on our computed requirement using the targeted beneficiary multiplied by the actual compliance rate.
Compliance.
Opo, compliance rate po yung aming computation. Your initial recommendation po has an inclusion for the amount to cover the subsidies in arrears, which upon our discussion, nalaman natin na hindi na siya necessary na include so much amount. Actually, to my, if my memory will serve me right, it's around 5 billion initially in your proposal, which we did not include already kasi po, na-release na natin under UA ng 2024.
Yeah, correct.
But then we met subsequently
Yes.
because of the hirit po to have in the special provision a colatilla allowing for the payment of arrears, to which we said wala naman tayo sa computation na yon, pero it was agreed to include that one in anticipation of any possible appeals.
Bali, yung special provision is a standby provision.
Yes.
Because in fact, it's not included in your 2025 computation. Wala na kayong arrears. Pagkatapos nito, Nako ha, pag umikot na naman at marami na namang hindi nabigyan, magtuturoan na naman tayo. Yan ang ayoko dito eh.
Madam Chair,
In any case, have you not requested DBM for additional allotment to cover the same?
Madam Chair, we asked for allotment based
Eh
on the
wala pa raw kasi compliance-based, wala pa silang natatanggap. Pero nakalista dito sa inyo 1.956 billion. Ilan na namang 4-piece dyan ang magre-reklamo na hindi nakatanggap?
Madam Chair, from our records, the 1.9 will be the last. That's why I went to DBM together with Director Pia and we met. And when we ran our figures, the 7 billion in Tier 2 should be enough to cover it. As you mentioned, it's a standby, ma'am. It's a standby special provision that in our computation, yung binigay na grants is enough already to even cover for the 1.9.
Secretary, I think your finance group should talk to the DBM because it's very apparent that the DBM at no point in time approved the Tier 2 7 billion. So unfortunately, we cannot accept that explanation and would rather see in writing exactly what has been proposed. And we want to make certain na wala na tayong utang sa 4-piece pa, mangungutang ka sa mahirap. Tama ba yun?
Madam, wala na ho because nga the 7 billion, again, is already enough to cover for that. That's why we ask for that standby special provision so that because in our own computation, enough na yung 7B. Enough na yung grants na binigay
Enough
nila.
nga, pero wala nga. Yun na nga ang problem doon, Secretary. Kaya magkaliwanagan po kayo. Kasi
Madam Chair,
ang naririnig ko sa kanila, walang 7B na ganyan. Okay, proceed na tayo from 2023. Let's move forward to 2024. Ang sinasabi ninyo, there will be no more projected arrears from 2024. Tama ba yun? Are we saying it's okay to delete the provision authorizing the use of 4-piece 2025 to cover 2024 arrears? Kasi wala nang kulang, wala na tayong
Madam
utang
Chair.
sa 4-piece sa 2024.
Madam Chair, we took the advice of the good chairman's office to manage the entry of new members into the program so that we'll have the cash to pay the existing arrears. So wala na kaming nakikitang issue because more than enough na yung grants na hawak ho namin.
Okay, so ang utang natin yung 2023, is that clear?
Correct.
Wala nang 2024.
We will use existing allocations already, Madam Chair.
Yung 2023, will you please settle with the DBM?
Yes, Madam
And
Chair,
if
we
you can
will.
provide it in writing, because right now, what you are claiming regarding the Tier 2 approval of 7 billion does not exist in the NEP, neither is it in any
Madam-
of the communication from DBM.
Madam Chair, what I'll do, I have with me is the actual DBM recommendation. We'll furnish it, Director, para makita ho.
Usap.
Madam Chair, basta one thing I can assure the committee. We already met and we told them with that standby special provision, we should be comfortable already to cover whatever arrears there may be. As
Pero
simple as that.
maliwanag na wala akong tinanggal sa inyo. 2023 o 2024.
Madam Chair.
Tigilan na yung mga salitang tungkol dyan.
Yes, Madam Chair. And now moving forward, what we told Director Pia during the meeting is this is enough for us already. Happy na ho kami. For the record, right now we're saying we just want that standby special provision and we should be okay already.
Okay, let's proceed to Kalay Sheets. You were given a budget of 2.1 billion 2025. Kayo na magsisettle niya na ng DBM, pakisubmit na lang. Ngayon, tungkol sa Kalay Sheets, sabi, it will fund KKB projects given select LGUs. And 1.4 for Tarabasa and all the learning facilitators. There's no special provision in the NEP providing for said breakdown. How did you determine? What is the legal basis for allocating 2.1 billion for CCD and Tarabasa to the exclusion of cash for work for students and cash for work for PWDs?
Madam Chair, the Tarabasa is the cash for work for students.
No, it's not our understanding. Iba pa to eh.
Yung hinahanap niya nawala eh.
Nawala to eh. nawala yung cash for work sa estudyante na nasa Kalahi Seeds, yung graduates na hindi pa nakakahanap ng trabaho ng 6 na buwan.
Madam
Bakit
Chair.
nawala to? Yun may basis yun in law eh. Ito walang basis.
Tinanggal kasi yung... Hindi, tinanggal yung special provision.
Ang special provision.
Inalis yung special provision.
Kasi according to TBM, it's not the proper way to do it.
Madam Chair, Director Pia can confirm with me. Naalis ho kasi yung special provision na yon dahil the way that DBMC says, it's not the proper way how we disaggregate the funds for KKB. That's why inalis ho nila yon. And with that, nung inalis yon, pati yung budgetary allocation niya, nawala rin.
Okay, but assuming that's the case, ito, wala rin siyang legal basis. Saan to nanggaling? Bakit biglang may KKB dito
Madam
for
Chair.
LGUs, saka may Tarabasa? Saan to
Madam Chair,
nagmula?
internally in our guidelines, that's how we disaggregate the funds for the KKB as
No, but
community-driven
in the same way
development.
that cash for work for students has no basis, these also don't have any basis.
Madam Chair, we
As a
can...
matter of fact, the students have actually questioned this themselves, the Tarabasa, wondering how they're expected to render 8 hours of tutoring when in fact they're at school themselves.
Madam Chair, it's done over summer break. Instead of giving them direct cash assistance without
So
any
what is the
conditions.
status of the ongoing Tarabasa?
Madam Chair, we're paying out already as we speak.
So, wait, to clarify, there is no longer any cash for work for students, neither is there any cash for work for PWDs.
Madam Chair, yung sa students, meron. Yun sa PWD,
Ano
wala.
yung sa students
Ma'am,
meron?
Tarabasa is the cash for work for students. They are made into tutors.
But that's only for elementary education. We were talking about college students who had not yet, graduates who had not yet found work. This is an entirely different set of students.
Madam Chair, that used to be a separate program na KKB, community-driven development for cash for work for PWD and for students. Iba pa ho yung sinasabi
Kaya
nila
nga,
yun.
so they were all removed.
That entire subsection, that entire special provision, together with its budget allocation, was actually removed. Nawala ho yun, Madam Chair.
Okay.
And we would gladly welcome its restoration if the Senate believes that it's our competency, because we've been asking for it as well.
I'm just mystified because you are giving, once again, these community-driven projects more emphasis when there are several budgetary items already addressing the same. And it's not necessarily your competence. A lot of this involves engineering, which clearly isn't the core business of DSWD.
Madam Chair, we'll be happy if it will be restored back, yun sa PWD and yung sa students.
Kasi to my mind, PWD is your core business. There's certainly the social welfare priority that's in our mind, whereas community-driven development involving farm-to-market roads, artisan wells, and so on are clearly not the business of social welfare.
Madam Chair, it's, I don't want to argue with the chair, but based on the professionals in the department, it's the development side of the department,
Okay.
bringing countryside empowerment to the poorest communities,
Hindi, pero
to be
ang
able to
sinasabi-
identify.
I understand development will cover everything under the sun. Ang tinatanong ko lang, bakit i-delete yung PWD?
Madam
Wala
Chair,
na nga tayong binibigay
we
sa mga
agree with you,
PWD.
Madam Chair. We agree with you.
Pagkatapos tatanggalan pa natin yan.
Madam Chair, we agree with you 101%.
So, bakit walang cash for work sa PWD? Wala
Madam-
na nga tayong binibigay. Wala silang stipend, wala sila sa 4Ps, wala silang anumang ayuda. Pagkatapos tatanggalan yung kaisa-isa na lang.
Madam Chair, for the record, we fully support the notion na dapat meron. That's why when we proposed it, meron ho siya. And we would gladly welcome its restoration.
Okay, this Kalahi Seeds siguro kailangan we should revisit kasi nalilito ako sa priorities ng ating department. Naintindihan ko na may development reach, pero kung tutuusin, ginagawa yan ng napakaraming ahensya na kung tutuusin din, mas mahusay sa ganyan. Kung farm to market road, di hamak na mas mahusay yung ating DA, ang DPWH, ang BSWM sa DA, ang NTFL-CAC, ginagawa din yan. Napakaraming gumagawa niyan, kaya hindi ko maintindihan, pinasukan ninyo yan at ginawa ninyong prioridad, samantalang yung MECA Pansanan, 0 ang binibigay sa buong budget ninyo.
Madam Chair, we, again, when we proposed it, nandun ho yun, and we would welcome its restoration. We agree with you that that is something very important.
Yes, that's your primary mandate. Itong pag-abot program, 807 million appropriated in 2025. May we have also, before going to pag-abot, meron bang accomplishment and financial report of the 900 million appropriated for Tarabasa?
Yes, Madam Chair, we'll gladly submit to you the accomplishment report together with DepEd's, kasi it's a partnership with DepEd, and we'll submit to you also DepEd's commendations.
Was there any perceptible improvement?
Yes, Madam Chair. DepEd issued actually a certification saying that their students, kasi they do the pre and the post test, sila naman gumagawa nun, kami nagbabayad lang. They showed us that kids were actually moving up the reading level.
Okay, so we have the arrival and we recognize Senator Bongo. So nasa pag-abot program tayo. Appropriated was 807 million. The physical targets and accomplishments. What are the intervention to all these children, individuals, and families? How many went back to their provinces? I'm sure Senator Go is concerned about this. It's pag-abot, balik probinsya. Meron ba kayong
Yeah,
update nito?
Yes, Madam Chair. All in all, 7,000 families were profiled living in streets in Metro Manila, of which 2,638 actually went back to their families and reintegrated back to their families. 2,638. To their provinces and reintegrated with their families with the economic grants necessary.
Yes, maybe you can give us some specifics. Were they given transitory shelter allowance? What was given to them? Transport, relocation, livelihood, psychosocial support, yung linilista natin
Yes,
lagi
Madam
with
Chair.
the financial, the commensurate financial equivalent.
Madam Chair,
Meron kayo niyan?
meron ma'am, we'll go ahead and submit to you as well. They
Sige.
were provided shelter, transport allowance,
So the
economic grants.
monitoring is done over a period of how long?
For the whole,
Hindi, kasi marami akong kilala, umuwi sa probinsya, bumalik din.
yeah. Madam Chair, ang ginagawa ho namin,
So I was wondering how long is the period during which you monitor?
Madam Chair, the monitoring when they get home to the province is 6 months. Pero one of the things that Pag-abot did is, pag nakaka-reach out tayo ng mga pamilya sa lansangan, we do their biometrics and issue them IDs. Now, pag sa tuwing nagre-reach out operation tayo at matagpuan natin ulit tong individual na to, then we'll know kung ano nangyari, bakit ka bumalik dito, nagkamali ba kami ng pagbigay ng pondo, hindi ba lumago yung negosyo mo. So then we'll have to do the other intervention.
Okay. Okay, so I will await that. And 6 months is probably a little short, no? Maybe, kasi may maraming balita na nagsiuwian.
Pag bumabalik ko sila dito, Madam Chair, as I mentioned, non-stop tayo ng reach out operation sa lansangan. And then we'll make sure that pag na-reach out namin ulit sila, do the biometrics at sila pa rin yung pares na individual, then we'll know na dapat pa namin i-monitor further.
Okay, that being the case, we probably should have a word also regarding the shortfall with the Centenarians Act, ano? Kasi that's only affected now. Hindi siya kasali sa 2025. Meron bang magawa ko ng paraan? Medyo overexcited yung mga tao natin.
Madam Chair, unfortunately, it's been moved to the NCSC already next year, kaya wala na sa libro ho namin yung centenarian, pati yung expanded
Wala rin sa
centenarian.
kanila eh. Meron na? Meron ng dagdag na 3 billion? Sigurado tayo? Parang nakalimutan ko kung meron eh. Okay,
Yes.
sige.
Meron.
And perhaps we can now recognize Senator Go if he has opening statement or further questions.
Magandang umaga po, Madam Chair. Sa lahat po ng